Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back, guys, to episode 3 of our new podcast, Deen Thoughts. And here, your two hosts today, Adam and
Mira.
Yup. And our topic is for the day, pride and arrogance. A topic that we all need to hear, right? We all need to learn about because truly it's something that everyone has, right? And we all need to control it. So let's get started. We have 2 ayat and some ahadith to talk about. First ayat is in Surah Al-A'raf, which basically this ayah talks about, well, let's just read it and we'll see what it talks about. Ayah 12. قال ما منعك ألا تسجد إذ أمرتك قال أنا خير منه خلقتني من نار وخلقته من طين. So the translation, right, in English is, Allah said, what has prevented you from prostrating when I ordered you? He said, I am better than him. You have created me of fire and created him of clay. Obviously, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is talking to shaitan. When Amar shaitan to Yushrad la Adam, he said, no, you created me from fire and you created him from clay. Meaning what? Shaitan was proud. He had that sense of pride, like, I'm better. You created me from fire. Why should I bow to someone who's created from clay? Right? And sometimes we have this pride, and it's important to realize that we don't want to be like shaitan. Obviously, this is something we don't want to mimic, this pride.
Where did he end up, Aslan?
Yeah.
He was in Jannah.
Nah,
he got kicked out of Jannah,
exactly.
literally for his arrogance.
He got kicked out of Jannah, and obviously, that's something you don't want to mimic, right?
Aslan, isn't all the evil, if you think about it, all the evil in our world today, it's because of his pride and arrogance. Because after that, he told Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he's gonna deviate them from the straight path, just because he was so arrogant, he got so mad.
Right, because he was proud that how come you created this man and you want me to worship?
So then he was like, I'm gonna make everyone else bad out of just his pride and arrogance.
Exactly. Yeah, so it all started from pride. Prideness, whatever you want to call it.
And racism.
It causes a lot of problems. And racism, that also shows he was the first racist. He said, his race is worse than mine. You got to realize racism is also something big that is bad in Islam, and we don't want to mimic that. The next ayah I want to bring up is Surah Al-Kahf, ayah number 37. قال له صاحبه وهو يحاوره أكفرت بالذي خلقك من تراب ثم من نطفة ثم سواك رجلا. So it says, the translation is, said his companion to him as he was conversing with him, do you deny him who created you from dust, then from a drop of semen, then he made you a perfect man? So the reason I wanted to bring this up is it closely relates to the topic, because we see the phases that Allah created us in, right? He created us first from clay. From clay, clay is so irrelevant to us, we never really clay to us is nothing.
It's dirt. It's
dirt.
On the ground, yeah.
Exactly, it's ground. You step on it, it's not crazy, wow, And then a drop of semen. Once again, drop of semen is nasty to all of us. None of us finds that nice. Even I remember there was one time I was watching a video where it was if there was right now a drop of semen on the floor, you would not pick it up. That's disgusting. So how are you going to be proud? If you started from a drop of semen, right, and from clay, and then he made you into a man, and then Rabbil Alameen, he built you up into what you are today. He gave you everything that you have, showing you what? You should not be proud, because Rabbil Alameen has given you everything. Rabbil Alameen is the one who created you in the first place from that drop of semen.
And he could take it away.
He can take it away anytime.
You know what I heard, kind of going off of this? I heard one time someone was saying, how can people be so arrogant when they came out of two private parts. Yeah. You came out of your dad's and then your mom's as well.
Right.
And people walk around like there's something.
Yeah, no, really, you can't really be
Aslan, if you look earlier in the surah, doesn't he say that I'm better than you? Or he talks about, because it's talking about two people who have two gardens.
Right.
And he's telling him, how can you be so arrogant? You think your garden is so good, in the sense where don't be so prideful about it, because Allah will take it away from you. And then later in the surah, it actually does get taken away from him. But he tells him that mine is better than yours. Right? He thinks he's better. He thinks his is more prestige.
And that's the thing, a lot of us, when we have pride, we fail to understand that Rabbil Alameen is the one that has given us everything, It's not from your actions that you have what you have today, your house, your good grades, your job. whatever, it's not from your actions. Rather, Rabb al-Alameen has given you it, you know, like in an instant he could take it, he could test you and take it. And maybe if you're proud, you may not be able to pass this test because of that pride, you know. So that's just something
that's
interesting.
So true.
Yeah.
Even one time I remember I heard someone was saying like kind of like what you were saying, sometimes people get so mad when something gets taken away from them, but they fail to understand that like Allah doesn't need to give it to us.
Yeah.
Like people live without eyesight, people live without hearing, people live without, and something simple like maybe like a bad grade or a fight that you had with someone, like it ruins your whole mood or your whole week. Right. But that's something so superficial compared to like things that other people aren't living with. So just going along with like pride, it makes you more like thankful. It opens your eyes to
for the blessings.
Stuff.
Yeah,
subhanAllah.
Yeah.
Okay, going on another aspect, but it's kind of really related. It's talking more about like tribalism and like how that kind of, because I feel like when people have tribalism, like it stirs up pride and arrogance. So not from the sense like where someone shouldn't be proud from like their lineage, like where you come from. That's important, like it's good, but it shouldn't be to the point where it's like you're putting other people from other nationalities or you're putting other people from other races down just because you think you're better than them. And so there's a hadith that's rated by Abu Hurairah, where the Prophet ﷺ, he said that do not envy one another, and do not inflate prices for one another, and do not hate one another, and do not turn away from one another, and do not undercut one another in trade, but rather be slaves of Allah and brothers amongst yourselves. A Muslim is the brother of a Muslim. He does not oppress him, nor does he fail him, nor does he lie to him, nor does he hold him in contempt. Taqwa is right here. It is evil enough for a man to hold his brother Muslim in contempt. The whole of a Muslim is inevitable for another Muslim, his blood, his property, and his honor. So this showing us that we as a Muslim ummah, we are all one body. You know, if one of us one part of the body hurts, the rest of the body hurts. This idea that it doesn't matter where you're from, your nationality, what language you speak, we as a Muslim ummah need to come together. We need to stand strong and to fight for the same message that every single one of us, no matter your color, your race, your beliefs, is that we all believe in La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. And this is something that needs to unite the whole Muslim ummah. And that's one of the reasons, not all of them, but that's one of the reasons why the scholars say that our Muslim ummah is facing so much oppression right now, because we're like dividing and diverging on some such super simple, superficial topics. So it's made our Muslim ummah weak. And that's why, like, when you look back at the history of the Muslim ummah when they were the strongest, like, you know, Bilal, like right. Bilal, who was the slave of the Prophet, he had so much honor. They didn't care. So it's just showing you how, like, you have to free yourself of this pride. And even though this hadith focuses on Muslims, it's also important that we shouldn't even show this to people that are non-Muslim, because sometimes we get too arrogant, and like, I know, like, I'm guilty of this myself sometimes, but I look down upon people Muslim if they're not Muslimin. But you have to understand that while you're still living, while you're still breathing, you have the same amount of chance to fall into kafir like they did. Because
not only that, but they have the same amount of chance
of getting guided.
Yeah,
exactly. So like, you can't take your religion for granted and look down upon them, because they might wake up and even become better than you. They might become a sheikh. They might become a sheikha. You know, you never know. And then another hadith is it was narrated by the Prophet ﷺ, where, and I think some of you guys might have heard this one, where it's none of you are truly believers until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. So this idea that we need to like love for yourself what you love for others, like to care for other people, kind of going back to this idea of us being a whole Muslim ummah. Or there's like the one where the companions, they said that the Prophet ﷺ gave so much right to the neighbors that we thought that they would inherit from us. So this just shows you, and subhanAllah, this shows you the beauty of Islam, that something like, it goes into so much detail about everything. Like A to Z, Islam talks about it. Like it even talks about how to treat people. It talks about pride, arrogance, like racism. Everything, subhanAllah, is in our religion. So when we look at it and we use it as like a guidebook, something that is like to guide our characters, to guide how we act in this world, wallahi, there would be so much less oppression. There'd be so much less problems in this world. You know, like so much stems from like arrogance and pride and all of that.
Right.
Well, anything else you want to say?
No, I think that sums it up, really.
That sums it up, yep. That's it for today's episode. Inshallah, we'll see you guys next time.
Inshallah. Make sure to email us with any suggestions for new topics that you guys would like to hear about. And yeah.
And feel free to share this podcast with anyone who you guys might think might benefit as well.
Definitely.
Inshallah, you guys will get the ajr too.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Peace out, guys.